If you're the CEO of Impossible Foods, you would think that you would be wanting to spread accurate information and do a bit more homework than spread the kind of misinformation you're spreading. Because to say that animals are destroying the planet is just plain wrong. It's a lie. What is going on, people? Hope you're having a great start to your 2020. I wanted to create a quick video. CES, which is the Consumer Electronics Show, was in Vegas at the very beginning of the year. It happens every year. It's a cool show where they show just a number of really cool things. Was actually taken by storm with some other cool, interesting sort of developments. One of the other ones was Impossible Food Company announcing their Impossible Pork. The CEO goes on to explain how pork is the most largely consumed animal food and that pork is highly inefficient, meaning the animal itself and the way it extracts food and nutrition and develops its protein that's consumed by human beings is highly inefficient and damaging to the planet. Impossible Foods is dealing with another company out there called Beyond Meat, who has been making strides to get into companies like McDonald's and create their own sort of Beyond Meat replications of the vegan versions of the meat foods in McDonald's. Impossible Foods has struck up a deal with Burger King, and they are actually doing the croissant sandwich, which is an Impossible Foods pork sausage that they make in Burger King. So, kind of crazy. The CEO talks about how destructive animals are to the environment, how bad the industry is. And I want to take a moment to say, one, if you're the CEO of Impossible Foods, you would think that you would be wanting to spread accurate information and do a bit more homework than spread the kind of misinformation you're spreading. Because to say that animals that have lived on the planet for millions of years in a life cycle with plants are destroying the planet is just plain wrong. It's a lie. Now, saying that factory farming and monocrop plant agriculture that feeds those factories and moving all of the plant foods and single crop foods across the planet using massive amounts of fossil fuel and tilling and destroying the soil of its mineral value because you don't put animals back on the land that the plant crops are growing in, that's an entirely different story. If we give people the real story, we don't vilify one thing. Of course, having factory farmed animals is terrible. It's a horrible thing. If you're at all benefiting the environment and you want to support a sustainable world, you have to vote with your dollar and you have to stop eating that crap. It's not good for your health. It's not good for the environment. And it certainly isn't good for the image of what's going on with agriculture in general. So again, when you're coming from that perspective and you explain that and you give context, it makes a lot of sense. When you're coming in and you're just vilifying animals, saying they're inefficient producers of food, that's just nonsense. If you go out into a field, into a farm, and you see an animal grazing grass, you could never eat that grass. And yet you see a beautiful cow, and they can convert, in some cases, hundreds of pounds of food every single day, every other day, into beef, into grass-fed, grass-finished beef, loaded with linoleic acid, essential amino acids, bioavailable nutrients, B vitamins, vitamin C. When you can create that from literally putting the animal on the soil, which then returns the carbon that it's consuming back into the soil through its manure and through walking across that, through herding on the land, you get a completely different picture. So as much as I respect someone that has clearly done great work in their life to get to a position of becoming a CEO of a massive company, frankly, I don't even think Impossible has a terrible mission. If Impossible wants to create food to feed the planet, I think that mission in and of itself is great. I think if you're spreading misinformation and telling people that animals are destroying the planet without giving them context into the type of farming, and you don't recognize the incredible value and the incredible construction of the planet that's happening in the regenerative agriculture space, you are poorly mistaken and you're basically destroying your own credibility. And how can you expect people that are intelligent to actually follow what you're teaching? He also states some stuff about health and wellness, which is just plain false. He talks about reducing saturated fat and cholesterol in his food products, how they're better for human beings. We know that that's not true. We've proven the lipid hypothesis is complete BS. We've looked at counterexamples. There are so many people in today's society reversing chronic disease, lowering markers of inflammation and cardiovascular disease. Unless you look at cholesterol in a complete vacuum and you don't take any context, you are not giving people the information that tells them the whole picture. And that's the sad fact, is that we've been vilifying these foods and these animal foods, yet for millions of years they've been the primary source of our fuel, and they provide an incredible nutrient profile for most human beings that they need, that they can't actually remove. Again, to roll out a pork product that is completely synthetic, that is built on pea protein and soy, which is goitrogenic, which actually is one of the biggest causes of pollution in the environment. When you think about the mass soy industry and the amount of just monocropping that goes into that to destroy the earth and to move the amounts of soy, the millions of tons of soy across the planet from places it's grown, it's just silly. It's just stupid. It's a lie. You're not doing the planet any better. Now, again, I want to backpedal for a second and say that your attempt to solve the world hunger problem and to create a food in a lab, when done in the right context and when done with that perspective, and not from a perspective of telling people that animals are terrible for the planet, that we're destroying the planet by having animal farming, is certainly fair. But again, looking at the ingredients list, looking at the nutritional profile that they're engineering, looking at what they're putting into these products, and the sheer amount of engineering and lab work and environmental impact on creating the products, I think regenerative agriculture is really the way to roll. And I thought this news was kind of wild, and I thought that after digging into the story and listening to the CEO talk about it, that he's just a little bit behind on his reading, and he needs to spend a bit more time not being a CEO, but actually being a well-educated, thoughtful thought leader who gets the credibility and respect that he's going to need to kind of carry this business along his path. So thank you so much for tuning in. This was a short little news video cast. I wanted to put together this thing. If you are interested in learning about this stuff, regenerative farming, if you don't believe that animals are good for the planet, I highly encourage you to go look at farms like White Oak Pastures in Bluffton, Georgia. Look at Rome Ranch here in Austin, Texas. They're an hour from where I live in Austin. You can see the actual physical evidence. You can't lie about it. Like, it's literally happening before your eyes. The grass is green. The farm is net negative in carbon emissions. They are bringing the soil back to life from where it was decimated by plant agriculture that doesn't have animals. So you need both. You need to see that. And for people that are preaching advice about not eating animals, that they're destroying the planet, I highly encourage you to go check this out. Help people vote with their dollar and encourage them to eat grass-fed, grass-finished, regeneratively raised agriculture. We have to take this approach as a grassroots effort to really move the needle. That's where it's going to start. Consumers want something, the industry will come to it. But as long as people keep eating the cheapest foods out there, they keep sort of picking and choosing what tastes good and not picking and choosing what's best for the world and for their health, we're going to have this problem. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment. I have a book. Go sign up for the newsletter. It's down below in the video description. It's at the carnivorekurt.com website /upcoming. Thank you so much for the support. I'll see you in the next video.